Hello everyone, this is Digit D and today I got a video for you guys. In this video, I am showing you guys how Goblin Engineer works. How does Goblin Engineer works? It's a Goblin Artificer. It's a cost 1 colorless and 1 red. It's a creature. It's a power is 1, toughness is 2. It says when Goblin Engineer enters the battlefield, you may search your library for an artifact card and put it into your graveyard, then shuffle. Its second ability says pay a red, sacrifice an artifact, then you return target artifact card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. It used to be converted mana cost, but they changed it to mana value to make it sounds less. So let me show you how this card works. This is how this card works, specifically stated. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to concede the game that I'm in now, so we can start a whole fresh one. Play lobby, or we're just this is just plain solitary, so we can show you how the card works. So, on how the card works, for Goblin Engineer, since I already read what it states, this looks like a decent hand. We're going to keep it. So, if you want to know how Goblin Engineer works, first off, get your first 2 lands out. We got 2 lands. You pay a red and a colorless. You play your card. Okay, so now, since you played Goblin Engineer, when he enters the battlefield, you search your library for an artifact card and you put it in your graveyard, then shuffle. So this ability goes on to the stack. And since this ability is on the stack, you can do other stuff to resolve if you have other things out before it goes into before you select. But for this part ability, we go select our targets. Let's do that. So, since this is on the stack, we're going to resolve the ability. We hit yes. Now we're going to search for a card with a CMC or converted mana or mana value 3 or less. Actually, you don't even need to search for a mana value 3 or less. I'm going to show you both ways of why and how this card works. So, with the first time you're doing this, if you select a card that has a mana value 2 or 3, you can use it in conjunction with its second ability. If you want to use it that way, you can. Or you can use it in conjunction of just getting artifacts out of your putting artifacts into your graveyard. So let's take a look here. Mirror Battle Spear is a 7 colorless uh, artifact creature. It costs 7 mana. So let's say I pick that one and put it into the graveyard. We put it into the graveyard. Okay? We pass turn. I'm going to just hit the number 6 for the hotkey here. Allows me to just skip the turn faster. We play another land. So first off, we want to use Goblin Engineer's second ability. We got to make sure we have a red. He has to have not been summoning sickness unless you have haste. If you have haste, you can activate his ability right away. So we're going to use Midnight. We're going to cast it for free because it'll cost exactly 0. So it costs 0. It's free. We cast it for free. Now, we want to do Goblin Engineer's ability. Can you do it? The answer is no. You cannot do this ability whatsoever because there is no target in your graveyard that has a mana value 3 or less. So let me show you. See, this card won't activate at all until you get a mana value 3 or less into your graveyard for it to work. So, this card cannot work if you have a 7 mana value card in your graveyard. So let's speed up the process of getting this stuff into the graveyard real fast. One, two, three, four, 5. So now we're at the cleanup. We got enough cards in our hand. We draw enough cards. I'm going to put Ichor Wellspring into the graveyard. Now we have targets. Now we have a target in our graveyard that we can use with Goblin Engineer's ability. So I get this out. I pay 2, and then I get an Ichor Wellspring. We draw a card because its ability went on the stack. I pay a red. Now, you should always do this in response, but since I'm showing you how the card works, so you can see how it's done, you can see there's a little white box around this card, so that means I can actually activate this card now because I do have a solid target that's in my graveyard to resolve Goblin Engineer's ability. So I select Ichor's Wellspring in the graveyard. Now I have to select the card that I'm willing to sacrifice. You can't just select the sacrifice card first and then get your target out of the graveyard. It won't work like that. So you have to select Ichor Wellspring that's on the field or Midnight. So I'm going to select Wellspring. I sack the Wellspring. Both of these abilities go onto the stack at the same time. You can choose which one resolves first, usually, but if it's since it's like this, they both go on at the same time. Your Wellspring goes first, and then your Goblin Engineer. So we're gonna get the draw card because it went to the graveyard, and then it brings the other one back, comes back, and then the second one that it just came back says it enters the battlefield. We're put in the graveyard. You draw another card. So we draw another card. Ain't that something? So now we still have 2 targets in the graveyard. So let's say we want to play another Goblin Engineer since we just drew another one. We play a red and a blue, and we cast it for 2. Now, first ability onto the stack, then we go search. We're going to hit yes. We are going to go grab something smaller. We are going to grab a mana value 3 or less. Like I said, because then if you will have targets. So I'm going to pick Servo Schematics. So now, for the next turn, since Servo Schematics is in our graveyard, we can actually use it. So we pay a red here. We pick Servo Schematics. We're going to sack the Wellspring. We draw a card, and bam, the Servo Schematics come back. And we get a 1/1 Servo. So I would like to say, if you learned something on how this card works, because I didn't know how this card works, and I looked it up, and there was no video on how to do this. So I hope this video is able to help anybody who doesn't know how Goblin Engineer works and needs to use it for Commander or any other format. So I would like to thank you guys for checking out my video today. And I really do hope you guys really like to see more of these videos in the future. I will be making more videos on how to works. My next video will be on Mutate. I would love to show you the crazy stuff you can do in Mutate. So I want to say thank you guys for checking out the video today. If you like, subscribe, comment. Everything is at the bottom. And I will see you guys next time.